So let's talk about Die Hard 5 From Russia with Love. No, it's a good day to die hard. And I'm going to give it a 8 out of 11. Now, this movie was better than I thought it was going to be. I honestly didn't think it was going to be that great until I remembered how I said the same thing about Die Hard 4, Die Hard with a Vengeance, and I ended up liking that one so much that I thought it was the best one so far. Still do, even after Die Hard 5, by the way. Now, during this review, I'm going to be referring to John McClane Sr. as McClane and John McClane Jr., his son, as John. After there is an interesting intro that is original to the movie, and I rather liked it. After the intro, though, McClane, he's not really himself. And I was like, oh, please tell me that you're not going to be this way through the whole movie. Don't worry, he's not. He comes back. Mclean Returns. I don't know where he was the first 15 or 20 minutes of the movie, but when he meets up with his son in Moscow, in Russia, there's like a father-son relationship going in this, similar to the father-daughter relationship in the past movie, Die Hard 4, except, well, this one is a little different. Apparently, the kid's a criminal. Or is he? No, he's not. That's revealed in the very beginning, so that's not really a major spoiler there. Minor spoiler. If a spoiler at all. So, right before he finds out that the kid is actually a spy for the CIA, there is the first action sequence, like 20 minutes in the movie. And it was pretty good, but there were items too conveniently placed throughout the whole action sequences that were, able to help the good guy, but they were too conveniently placed there. But hey, action movies do that. Another thing was way too many crushed cars. I mean, seriously, I get that this is an action movie, but do you need to crush? They had to have crushed at least 100 cars with that big machine they were going through. After they broke a guy named Yuri out of... He and Yuri were on trial. John and Yuri were on trial for something they really didn't do. And there's some explosion that busts them out for the CIA, and then McClane gets in there and ruins everything. But he didn't know. He didn't know his son was a spy. So that's where the father-son issue comes in. And that's really how the movie gets going. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, now I can enjoy this. The son and McClane is a little less worried about John once he finds out he's not a criminal and that he's actually a spy. But the father-son friction isn't over. Not to say that it gets worse. So Yuri does get shot, but in that beginning, but he's A-okay. Then we've got the second action sequence. After, I don't know, like a 10-minute pause tops, there's another action sequence. This one is better, though. Now that's kind of a spoiler, so I'll hold off on that. That is a spoiler, I will hold off on that. There is a third action sequence after those two spoilers I mentioned. And that third action sequence, I'm not going to say anything about because you got to go see the movie to see it. There are two more action sequences, and I'm just going to see. One other thing I'm going to say before I go into spoilers is I liked the idea of using Chernobyl as the final area that this film goes to. And it really does have a spy feel to it, because Mclean is following his son as and they're acting like spies. I mean, it's really awesome. And then it does finale with 2 additional action sequences after they're like, discovered, because this is an action movie. It's not a spy movie. But anyway, I'm going to go into the spoilers now to talk about the gaps that are left out, except that one. So anyway, I said we're going to pick off after the 3rd action sequences. I'm not going to explain that because it contains too many spoilers. But the accuracy of a heli gun, the gun in the helicopter, the one attached, honestly, you think that it would miss that many times. It doesn't hit. It doesn't strike them. It doesn't even get close. I know they gotta live, but you should have at least made it look closer, you guys. After there is the dad-son talk between him and, between Mclean and John. Before I mention that though, I gotta go back. As I said, Mclean was talking to Yuri. Now, Mclean was talking to Yuri about how he regrets not being there for his kids. What he doesn't know is John is on the other side of the truck overhearing all this, and he's like, oh man, he regrets it. Now I feel bad, because I was like being all mean to him for screwing up my operation, for those of you who don't know what that means. Now, the other thing is he doesn't say Yippee Ki-Yay Mother Beep in this movie until the Chernobyl area that I mentioned. And the Chernobyl area is where movie really picks up, really gets moving. After that, the movie's over really quickly, as a matter of fact. It doesn't take too long to get up to there, but it does speed up when it gets there. Right before they go into the Chernobyl area, they find their bond, and their son-father relationship is fixed, so to speak. Now, the son says things that Mclean would say, like, let's go in there, guns blazing, kill some mother beeps. Not Yippee Ki-Yay, because that's left for Mclean. In like 10 minutes later, he says it once in the movie. So anyway, that's where the 4th action sequence comes in, but it's the spy sequence. Now, earlier in the movie, I forgot the full name of it. There's like Kovrov or something, and his daughter, they're the bad guys, and his daughter betrays him, betrays Kovrov, and he gets really screwed by his own daughter. But she's a bad guy, so it's not unheard of for a bad guy to screw her own father, or his own father, or mother even. But in this case, it's daughter and father. And what they are going for after, by the way, is a chip. A chip to control nuclear stuff that could be turned into a weapon. And Yuri is another one of the guys. He's like was the partner of this car guy and KAR. And now he's helping Mclean and John. But after the 4th sequence is a big twist. So big that I really don't want to spoil this one either for you. I do have it on here. What, should I say it? Alright, cover your ears while I have my hand up if you don't want to hear a big spoiler here. Here it comes. It turns out to all be a twist, and Yuri is a bad guy. Alright. It all turns out to be a ruse. Now, there's a fifth and final action sequence in this movie that is more like the past Die Hard movies. But it's not a copy. It is still original. Yuri... I can't actually say this. If you weren't listening to this, you gotta go away, because this is big spoiler time. I just want to share the finale with you. Yuri has... He's in the helicopter now, and him is this girl. And again, the stupid accuracy thing where they can't hit him even though they're 10 times closer than in the first action sequence where the helicopter was involved. Now is where John finally says, "Yippee Ki-Yay, Mother Beep." Yuri ends up hitting a propeller, and it's really graphic. So I was like, I don't believe I've seen stuff that graphic in a Die Hard movie. So I didn't know what to say about that. So I'm not gonna try to just blood and gore everywhere. So definitely not a movie to take your kids to. Blood guts, as I mentioned. Finally, the daughter of Karov it rams the helicopter into a building in an attempt to kill John and McClane. Of course, she ends up killing herself because John McClane Sr. and John McClane Jr. jump out of the way. This is typical, of course. May I refer to the Star Trek episode where... Which one was I going to refer to? I didn't put in an episode number here, but there are Star Trek episodes where this happens all the time. Now, what I loved about the end, finally, the very end, was it was instrumental. No sound, but music. I love that. In fact, as I record this, this time tomorrow, I'm actually going to be in the middle of performing a concert with the Rhode Island Wind Ensemble. So I'm classically trained. So it was very nice to hear that. And it was another very new idea to Die Hard. So I'm going to try to end this at 13 minutes. I say 8 out of 11. Very good. Buy it? Probably not, just because I'm not into this. See it again? If my dad wants to go see it, I'll see it with him.